My name is Claus. I'm a shareholder or co-shareholder of 3 companies. One is called Rodex Risk Advisors, a risk management company, and the other 2 are called Dein-Anlageberater.ch and Dein-Anlageberater.de. Well, I've been working in finance for more than 20 years. My background is I'm an economist, and I specialized in applied financial econometrics. I've worked for banks, insurance companies, and hedge funds during my about 22 years of experience. I've worked in Germany, in the UK, and in Switzerland. Dein-Anlageberater is a robo-advisor, and it follows a few innovative ideas. The first one is it's very cheap. So one investment advice only sets you back between 3 and 5 Swiss francs or between 3 and 5 euros. It does not put each client into one or out of 3 or 5 different allocation categories, but we have one investment advice specifically tailored for each individual investor. So we have, in theory, about 100 million different allocation models. Maybe a few more points on what is a robo-advisor. All you do with regards to investment recommendations is done online. So you cut out the bank, you cut out the fees. Investment recommendations are generally very cheap. You don't need to fill in a questionnaire manually. You just do it online, so that's much more convenient. You can do it 24/7, 365 days per annum, rather than going to a bank and consulting with an advisor. In general, robo-advice is much quicker, it's much cheaper, and it's very professional. People like that it's affordable. Rather than taking, say, 50 basis points of assets under management, we only charge very low fees. So, as mentioned before, it's only 3 to 5 francs per investment recommendation. And we think that the average investor will ask for 3 to 4 investment recommendations per annum. So the whole process of advice will cost you between 12 and 20 francs per annum. So that's, I think, democratizing robo-advising. If you would like to get some investment advice from a bank, you ask for an appointment. So the appointment will take place in 2 weeks' time, in 3 weeks' time, maybe in 6 weeks' time, depending on how important you are as a client for the bank, how many assets you bring as a client. Then you go to the bank, you have the meeting. You might have known the advisor for some time or not. It might be a junior person, a senior person. Also, this depends on your, I think, on your level of wealth. The more wealth you bring, the more senior the person interviewing you might be. Then you answer a couple of questions. I know how long it takes, maybe an hour or so. You will have to sign the minutes of your investment consultancy session, and then you get an advice. You will be charged, I don't know how many basis points, but I guess quite a few. And then the investment advice can be implemented. This is how the traditional model would look like. With our robo-advisor, as described before, you go through the questionnaire, 6 to 10 minutes. You can do it anytime you want, from any place where you want, whether you do it from a cafe or from home at 3 a.m. or at 10 p.m., that doesn't really matter. Our investment advice is available all the time, and it's professional. It's irrelevant in our case whether you would like to invest 5,000 francs or 5 billion francs. It costs you the same, between 3 and 5 francs. And that's about it. Maybe people still like the personal touch of a conversation with their investment advisor. Maybe they are afraid of technology. Or they just don't want to use a robo-advisor platform. Maybe they are much more familiar with their local bank, the local products, and so on. And I think it's, it takes time for people to realize what a robo-advisor really can do and what it is and what the advantages are. Some people will like it, other people will not like it. So that's the usual process. But I think in our case, it's a compelling value proposition. We look for two different segments of target clients. The first segment is the classical retail investor. So how do you get through to the classical retail investor? That's usually done by placing commercials, say on TV or say on Facebook or on social media and similar things. This requires an advertising budget. In our case, we don't have large pockets and deep pockets to spend on commercials, and we look for our second segment of clients, and these are asset managers, which have a large amount of marginal clients. These are clients who are just barely profitable, the clients are either too small to be profitable, too small in terms of assets under management. And what we can offer then is we can offer our affordable advice, which would help those asset managers to reduce their costs for their marginal clients and make their marginal clients much less marginal, i.e. Much more profitable. I think there are plenty of asset managers with marginal clients, and they all have to look for new ways to make their business more profitable. In particular, in relation to new regulation coming up, new costs coming up, they just are desperate to reduce costs for their core business model. And I think a robo-advisor like ours can be a great tool to fulfill their intentions to reduce costs. There's a lot of interest out there. The problem, as always, is to get the first one to make the first step. We are facing a great environment because what a robo-advisor does is it helps you to generate professional investment advice at affordable costs. And I think this is what many people need. What banks currently offer is investment advice, which to a large degree is still discretionary at a very high cost. So I think we have a good point to be successful in this market. What I think is relevant is that you offer advice which targets the client rather than being a means to fill the pockets of individual banks. I think banks will have other tasks in a few years' time. Maybe some of their business will erode. For example, trading, payment processing, I think is another point. But I think they will still be around, and I think there will be still clients who would like to have this personal interaction with their consultant. And from that perspective, I'm pretty sure that banks will still be there, but I think they will look different than they look today. My experience with ventures or with entrepreneurial ventures is that if you are too early, you can go bust as well easily. If you are a smart follower and you just watch what other people do, and then you see what might become successful, and only then make your move, that can save you a lot of money and time as well. So what is the best strategy? Being a smart leader or a smart follower? To be honest, I can't tell. In our case, we're not the first robo-advisor here in Switzerland, but I think we have a good model. We have a nice pricing model. We have a lot of other features that I don't reiterate now, but all in all, I think it's time will tell what is more successful. When something new comes up, in our case, robo-advice, there's a big hype. We currently are part of this big hype. We have maybe each month coming a new robo-advisor to the market. Where will we be in 2 years' time? To be honest, I have no clear view on that. My guess is that given the small population here in Switzerland, we might have, in the end, maybe in 5 years' time, we might have 2 or 3 left independent robo-advisors. And I'm pretty sure that the banks will have their own robo-advising platforms as well. So I think robo-advice in general will be something that will be established, say 5 years from now in Switzerland. And I think the situation will be pretty similar in other countries as well. There's a lot going on here in Switzerland. I think people have great ideas. As far as I know, also very inspiring ideas. Apart from being inspiring, I don't know whether they all will be successful commercially. And I think this is the really big point to make. Great ideas to have is fine, but ultimately we need to make some money as well, and we need to pay our salaries, our rents, and to feed our children. Even if you have a great idea, it's very tough to sell the idea to people. Who is making the first step? Who is the first investor? Who gives you the first contract? Who gives you the permission to use their brand name to make known that you are cooperating with a household name, and to come from an idea to the point where you have a product that you can market takes you maybe a year or so. Then you have the marketing phase, where you ask people whether you can pop by and tell them about your great idea. This takes another 6 to 12 months or so. When you look from the point where you start to the point where you actually might be starting money, this is a lot of time. It's 2 years, 3 years plus. And many people, I think, will not have the reserves to go through this valley of tears. Well, that's from my experience. It's making enough money to put some food on the table, but I'm not a millionaire. I'm not sitting in a plush office or something. I think being an entrepreneur is fun. It's a lot of fun to work in that space, and it's much more fun than working in a large company, for example. So that's why I'm still here. The German market compared to Switzerland is much bigger. So you have 83 million people in Germany. In Switzerland, you have 8 million people. So it's 10 times the amount of people that you can reach in the same jurisdiction, in the same language. The environment in Switzerland here is that if and when you have a good idea and you make your point, you get a chance. And this is what I appreciate a lot about life here in Switzerland. You can pitch to people, talk to people. You can ask them to give you feedback, and from that perspective, I have no reason to complain about anything. It's all in your own hands. You need to be lucky as well. But from that perspective, I think the environment here in Switzerland for startup companies is great. There's nothing to complain about. Maybe one thing is the high prices that you're facing, but other than that, I think the environment is great.